What's up, everybody? I know it's almost December. We're getting excited for the Phillies. I'm excited. We're still a long ways away from spring training, but just the fact that December is right around the corner, and that's when the winter meetings start. Still have high hopes the Phillies are going to sign someone big. I don't know if it's going to be a pitcher. I don't know if it's going to be Mike Trout, another hitter, another reliever. I don't know, but I know they'll do something because Davey Dombrowski never disappoints. Now, let's just get right to it. The Phillies are a playoff team. When they're in the playoffs, you might have thought of what they did in 2022 would not happen in 2023. They just got lucky. The crowd was why they won. No. 2 years in a row, this team is a playoff team. They went to the World Series in 2022. They were damn near 2 games away from winning the whole thing. And then in 2023, they were 1 win away from going back to the World Series. And who knows what they would have done in the World Series. Maybe they would have won it. I think they would have. But let's talk about why they're going to win the 2024 World Series. Okay, so what happened in 2022 when they made the playoffs, right? They had good hitting. They had good pitching. Zach Wheeler was disgusting. Ranger Suarez. Aaron Nola was great. And then they go to the World Series. They're up 2-1. They hit 5 home runs. They go home. They still have that home field advantage. The crowd is in it. And then what happens? They get no hit. And then they couldn't win from there on out. Now, they had chances. Those last 2 games, they could have won. You think of the Chas McCormick play in center field, like, damn, brutal. I think about this ball that Schwarber hit down the first base line that the first baseman just luckily stuck his glove out there and fucking pulled it out of his ass. That would have been huge. So they had their opportunities, but it just didn't go their way. In any series, you just don't know how it's going to go, especially when you have 2 good teams, the Astros and the Phillies. But something that I saw from that World Series was that the Astros had dominant relief pitching. So what did the Phillies do? They got better relievers for the following year. Boom. So that brings us to the 2023 year. What did they see were their mistakes in 2022? Like I just said, it was the relievers. Okay, so you upped your relievers. Cool. And then you go out and get Trey Turner. You needed a shortstop. Boom. So instantly, you're better. So you go to the 2023 season, they make it to the playoffs, and home field advantage for the Phillies is real. But let's get into this. It's real until there's a 7-game series. And it's the same thing that happened in 2022, right? So they don't even play a home game until they play the Braves. Play the Braves at home. The Braves are shocked. They're like, holy shit, this place is electric. Like, when it comes to playoff baseball, Citizens Bank Park is an advantage. Everyone knows it because that's all they talk about when they play the Phillies at Citizens Bank in the playoffs. So, yes, it is an advantage, but until you get to a 7-game series, hence when they played the Padres, right? So they start out away, they get 1 win away, they come home, and the Phillies win a couple games. Obviously, they didn't lose 1 game against the Padres at home. We know that. But then eventually, like the Padres, they started scoring runs. They weren't affected by the crowd, but yet the Phillies still pulled it out. They still had the better at-bats. They still scored more runs. Cool, great. And even in the World Series, that first game home, boom, 5 home runs. It's like, oh, shit, we might win this thing at home. We have the advantage. But then Houston, being the Houston Astros, being in that playoff atmosphere so many years in a row, didn't affect them. They got over it. Now it brings you to 2023. First series against Miami. They didn't know what the fuck hit them. Boom, done. Same thing with the Braves. They didn't want to go to Citizens Bank, but it was a 5-game series. They go to Citizens Bank. What happened? They got scared again. They lost again because of that atmosphere. Now you go to the Diamondbacks. What happened? Boom, they're fucking scared. They're like, holy shit, this place is crazy. Then you go to Arizona. It's fucking dormant, and the Phillies just lost it from there. They come back home, but when they came back home, Arizona they knew what they were expecting. They already played 2 games there. They come back home. I know they're down a game, but still they're like, we know what this is about. We won a couple games against the Phillies. We can do this. Their confidence was higher. Home field wasn't as effective. But the Phillies, what was the big problem in 2023? Is they didn't hit. But what came back to haunt us was not hitting with runners in scoring position. That was a big killer for the Phillies in the regular season. So many opportunities to score runs, and they didn't. So many times they had 2 guys on with no outs, they didn't score a run. And what did they do in those last 2 games? Could not hit with runners in scoring position. Too many strikeouts. So what do you need to get in 2024? You need to get at least one hitter that is going to be able to make contact, that's going to be able to come up clutch, that if you got guys on second, third with 1 out, like the dude's just going to hit the ball. He's not going to strike out in an opportunity like we had so many of in that NLCS Game 7. So damn frustrating. So that's what they need now. I'm not worried about the pitching. The pitching, Aaron Nola is great in the playoffs. Zach Wheeler, Rangers, they're great. The relievers did their job except Kimbrel. Fuck Kimbrel. We take him out of the role. He's gone. We're not re-signing him. I think anyone else in those positions, we would have won those games in Arizona. We'd be in the World Series. We would have won the World Series, possibly. At least we would have been there 2 years in a row. But this Phillies team, they get rid of Kimbrel. They get another bat. They get a better reliever. Maybe they make Kerkering their closing guy. I think he's going to do. I think the kid's going to be amazing. I think he already is amazing. He already had that experience going to the playoffs. So maybe he's your guy. I got confidence in him. He just needs to throw more fastballs. And again, you get a couple more hitters that are more reliable or more average hitters that don't need to hit the ball out of the park. But if they do, cool. That's a plus. You do that, this team is better in 2024. You get those additions, boom, you win the World Series. No one wants to fuck with the Phillies in the in the playoffs, and everyone knows that. They are a playoff team, and they're so close. So that's why I think they're going to bring it home in 2024.